On this episode of the Esports Meta.
Everybody's got a little thing for the most part. It's called buy singles, don't buy sealed.
It's a new game. We're in season 1. We're about halfway through. How important is player sentiment versus actual physical numbers?
What everybody thinks is good doesn't mean that it's actually good, right?
Welcome to the Esports Meta, your place for video game competition and news. I'm your host, Billy Sims, about to bring you a pretty simple, fun, great episode. We've got streamlined information for you. We've been talking about LTA week 2 or 3, I believe. There were scores and a little bit of drama going on with that. Disguise has been eliminated from this split. A little bit of a clickbait, but we want to get your attention because it is kind of a big deal. The first time we've seen that streamer. We'll talk a lot more about that team and what that means and what we'd like to see from them in the future and what this split is doing for LTA. In general, LTA North. Then we're going to be talking about Overwatch Championship Series. The first stage, week 1, has completed. We've seen some scores, and there's a nice little round robin thing happening we're going to talk about. And we'll also dive into some percentages, pick rates, ban rates, maps, etc. Going through that meta aspect. And finally, we're going to be talking about Marvel Rivals. We got to talk about numbers. So we're going to smooth it out across the board of hero shooters here with Marvel Rivals. Specifically, Marvel Rivals has a good momentum, but you'd kind of be surprised at some of the characters that have been banned and picked and their play rates and what ranks are doing what. We know it's a chaotic game and we get to see a little bit more of that chaos in number form. Yeah, it's a lot to cover, but it's going to be straightforward, easy for you guys. Thanks for joining us today here on Monday, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Times, like we do every week now. This is a community-based podcast as well as an event, I guess. So if you're interested in the things we're talking about, leave a comment, throw a smiley face, an emoji sign, whatever you want, just to let them know the algorithm gods that you're here, you're watching, and you're enjoying it, or maybe not enjoying it. Put that thumbs down because Nick is a stinker. We'll get to him in a second, but we appreciate you being here. And you can catch us on everywhere, the social medias that you're at the Esports Meta. But as I was just talking about, let me bring in co-star Extreme Diva Man Nick. How you doing today? Nick, I'm hitting the wrong buttons. Let's try that again. Nick, how you doing?
Doing all right.
All right. Man, you're always just so stoic for me here. Like, you give me nothing.
Oh, 100%, man. That's always like how I'm going to do it. Called me a stinker too. Like you thought you were going to get something. Like I gotta try a little bit to the intelligence points on that one, my man. Get some arcane intellect on that. So then,
I might have rolled a d20 and rolled low, but that, it was part of my plan here, Nick. It was obviously part of my plan just to get you a little bit riled up. It did not work. Let's see if we can do a little bit better with these games. Get you all. Did you have your coffee today? Did you, are you full of some steam, some energy here, or are you just full of farts?
Absolutely, like 1 cup. All right. It happens. Someone could be full of parts, Anyway, get off.
If it's not going to be you,
banter.
It's got to be me. All right. Let's get into video game stuff. Nick, it's been a week of video games, of course. Is there something you've been playing this week enjoying?
Honestly, I've been, like I said it before the stream, right? Like I've been a little addicted to Baltaro.
All right.
That one's been pretty fun. Playing that little jam on my phone has been pretty cool. Other than that, it's like League, Magic. I switched over to Modern until next bans happen. So now I'm a Modern gamer, and I can't wait to get lit up trying to learn this whole thing.
When are the next bans for Magic?
March. I don't know. I'm I'm not hopeful. So like, I'm just letting it ride.
You're gonna be sitting on those patch notes for a little bit. All right. Man.
A little bit.
So I've heard the name of the game, Bolero.
That's what I call it. But I could be like,
I don't know what that's what I'm saying. I was about to say, I don't know what it is. I've heard the name. I've heard a couple other people play it. Balatro. Right? Okay. I was way off.
I was way off. What is
it?
It's a roguelike strategy game using poker.
Okay. Oh, so like okay.
If you know poker already, you should be fine. But if you don't know poker, And maybe you can learn with this one. It's pretty easy. Overall,
yeah. Okay. It was something you were talking about a couple weeks ago too, and just slipped my mind. But that's the game that because I've had a couple other people tell me I should play it, and I'm just kind of iffy on another mobile game, another thing in my hand. Right now I'm playing Pokemon Pocket a lot. The new set just came out. It's been a little bit more diversity in what to expect, a little more complexity in abilities and supporters, etc. So I've been enjoying that one along the lines there.
I can't keep up with it. I heard the debacle of them introducing trading or something, and then people just just review bombing the shit out of it with take trading card game off of your whole premise of this. That's the last that I know about it for the last little bit. So sounds like things have been going lovely over there.
Other than the trading thing, it's been quite enjoyable. Honestly, it's a solid game, the solid meta, a very diverse meta. You're not just all inning on one card. The whole free to play thing is still free to play. But there's been a little bit of chipping away here where the wonder picks, the random select card thing isn't random, allegedly. The packs, you get to pick from a carousel of packs. That's allegedly not random. You're going to get the same 5 cards in every pack, no matter what kind of thing. I think it's all just to service the fan in a little bit. And that's a lot of things we used to see with the casino and stuff. It's not that you have a less of a chance of winning. It's just that it kind of gets packaged you have agency in your win, essentially, which is weird.
Yeah, what did they do? They literally came out and told everybody, hey guys, we wanted to make this experience of opening fake shit on our app more fun. And then they did that. And then everybody realized that, hey, this is just fun. It's got no real value to all this fugazi stuff. And they're mad about it. That makes sense. Yeah, I get that. I can 100% agree. You didn't get the toy you wanted on Christmas, but you got some other stuff. I guess that's a valid reason.
It's definitely a feels bad man. It's definitely a feels bad man. But generally speaking, the trading is a whole nother level because it's 2 or 3 time gates and currency gates. And I don't know what they're thinking there. I don't know if they're just worried they're not going to sell as many packs if they do it or not. That's obviously the extreme sort of take you can have where it's they're just out to get my money. And it's well, yeah, they're a mobile game. What do you think was going to happen? It's Pokemon. What did you think is going to happen?
It's a trade. We got a little thing in every single physical trading card game. Everybody's got a little thing for the most part. It's called buy singles, don't buy sealed. That's it. And look, you can't buy singles in your little mobile game. I get I don't know. Yeah, I don't know, but that's the whole thing. But it's never value to open up packs. So the complaint of it sucks to open packs and I don't get what I want is falls on deaf ears, bro. I can't. Do not care. Not a valid complaint. Not a valid complaint.
I mean, yeah,
it's not in the TCG world. It's just not a good complaint. That's the life. That's what it is.
Yes.
You don't get what you want out of the packs, and you should learn your lesson. Don't crack packs. But the only way to get cards in this is to crack packs. So I think maybe you're just angry about what you're doing, and not what it not what you thought it was, but exactly what you're doing is exactly what's pissing you off. So,
and then the promise of a thing that, gets rug pulled, because the pack thing, you're in the game, you know what it is. You should expect it. You shouldn't expect anything else. They haven't told you anything else. The trading, they haven't said anything. So a lot of people filled in the details between, and it just feels bad. Hopefully they change it up. We'll keep you posted on any information. I'm sure we'll talk about it a little bit more, do a breakdown, but it's exactly what you said. Feels bad, man. That's kind of it. It's just the nature of that
Overwatch
game.
Community.
Well, we're going to start with Marvel Rivals, the not yet crybabies of the arena shooters. We are starting to see a little bit of tiers here and there, polls. We have seen people complain about wanting 2-2-2 roll lock, like Overwatch did. I'm not saying that it should be that way. I don't necessarily agree or disagree or how big of a thing, but NetEase has also stated that they're not interested in that. Then we've also seen GOATS meta come through. So 3 supports are dominating the top meta right now of picks for the ranks and whatnot. So hey, that sounds familiar from Overwatch as well. it all feels like it's boiling to be something. We'll see how that develops. But I want to talk about Marvel in the pick ban rate sort of sense, because it's a new game. We're in season 1. We're about halfway through. We've gotten 2 new characters from season 1. We've got all the new characters from season 0. So it's still fresh. We're still in the honeymoon phase mostly. And we've seen some buffs changes that have drastically changed things up as season 1 started. So let's take a look at the leaderboards. We're going to move on over to a website called rivalsmeta.com. Let me zoom that in a little bit. Make sure we're on. Perfect.
Hey, look at her.
Yeah.
One patch is all it took.
Yeah. This was a character that you and I kind of picked up immediately. I was like, hey, there's something here, but like it feels weak. Everybody was crying, lowest tier rank, everything. That patch, the buff to, I think it was her primary damage and then one other thing. And like she's got a 56% win rate, the top win rate as far as this database is concerned in Marvel Rivals. Then looking at her pick rate, she's still kind of, she's still kind of like low comparison, 11%. So is it maybe the specialists? Maybe it's people who vibe with her. She's banned almost half the time. And this is out of a sample size of 63,000 matches. So it's a decent sample size of what to expect. But that's a high win rate when you have developers that want to push a 50-50, like everybody's balanced mentality, right?
It's like an impossible task like this.
Absolutely. Herculean.
Impossible. Yeah, it's like if you're trying to do that, it's pretty foolish. You should be probably making this game like, because this game is pure chaos. It should be completely balanced around the top rather than the bottom. Like League of Legends, I feel is always like balanced from like the top as well. Like it's kind of like a lot of champions are like hindered from like higher tier players being impacted them. So like they're not very good at like lower ranks and stuff like that. But I think like this game, like the same exact thing, just make it completely balanced around the highest level of play, and then just let everybody else just throw tanks or anything at each other.
Yeah.
It'll be more fun that way.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's a good mindset. I think that's kind of what they were doing, because Storm was being ranked by the community as like one of the worst characters, where there were a few handful of people that were like, this is definitely not the case. She is a good anti-dive character. She's a good poke, like a peek and poke kind of character. But we're going to definitely expect a nerf hammer. I also want to clarify here, what we're looking at on the chart here, this is all ranks. So if we go in and like we go to the top, Loki, this is weird because I guess the sample size isn't high enough. It's only one person. So let's go down and let's get the Grandmaster plus.
Let's do like 2 above gold.
2 above gold would be diamond or diamond plus. Let's do diamond plus. Diamond plus has seemed to be the plateau for a lot of Marvel Rivals and statistics here, but it still has a decent sample size. Nick, actually, before we go into like some of this information, I had read, and maybe I can bring this up on the side, about 80% of the Marvel Rivals player base is in bronze. And like that kind of shook me for a second, but then I got to thinking about it because, okay, 80% probably doesn't play comp. If they do, they probably, that percentage that's not great. So like really only 20% of the player base is making their way beyond bronze into, silver, gold. And then like that dwindles pretty fast as you get to plat. And I think then plat becomes this plateau where a lot of players get stuck in the whole competitiveness. And I don't know if that's necessarily like a rank issue, like they're just getting 50-50 matches, they're not going on win streaks anymore, or if they're just getting stomped by the actual good players of this. But that was a little tidbit I want to add there, because like that seems really dramatic. And you think that because this is a new game and people learning it is a new demographic that's bringing people with their action figures to Smash to this game they've maybe haven't played before, or do you think it might be something else?
It's 100% the bigger player base.
Yeah,
like overall, like if you add like Marvel Rivals itself, like has a more broader view, right? Like a lot more people can be more interested in it just in general. And so more people are actually play the game, try it out. I literally know like 5 people who don't even play shooters who are playing this game. So like if it has that ability to pull in like ex Overwatch people who haven't played in like years for like a shooter, it's a very different game from like Call of Duty and stuff like that. Like Marvel Rivals kind of has the same problem as Overwatch. I've said it once, I say it again. This game, like both games make sharks. Like for the worst people in this game, like sharks, the mentality that people have of like, I got to go straight. I got to go to that objective. You think I'm looking up? Out of your fucking mind. Think I'm looking left? Out of your mind. Think I'm looking right? Maybe once. Right?
Yeah.
So is like, I think it's like has something to do with that marked with everything else. And I think our feed is.
I think a little bit. I'm trying to like prioritize the device on the bandwidth right now. I hope it's not the my Wi-Fi, because that's kind of hinging this whole thing. But let's carry on, see how that goes. I'm going to kind of look down and prioritize my device for 4 hours to make sure that no vampires are stealing my Wi-Fi. I see you out there. Don't you dare take my Wi-Fi. But yeah, I agree. It does hit Marvel Rivals does hit a broader player base, and it might be bringing people to Marvel Rivals or a shooter for the first time. And it's not quite a shooter sometimes, right? Like this is a shooter that has like half its characters punching people, right? You're not shooting, you're just throwing hands. In that way, I actually want to take a look at our bronze sort of matchup. I'm going to bring us back into the browsing screen here. Perfect. And looking at the bronze rank, we are seeing people sort of copy how broken characters are, or like, you know, things that are on like a S tier aspect, but like Storm's got a 55% win rate. She's picked less than she was before, but it's still like 20,000 match sample size. Mantis is up there. Rocket was up there. Rocket was number 2 in all ranks across the board as well, according to this chart. So like it might be like a literally people doing the hero fantasy. They're playing the character they want, they like the ideology of. But then it could also be that they're just attaching whatever's got the biggest numbers right now themselves to it and like making moves on it. Surprisingly, Mr. Fantastic is down here, where I think at the higher ranks he just gets nuked. I still think he's a fantastic character, but yeah, like 52% win rate down in bronze seems to be a big deal. Any of these characters, Nick, kind of surprise you from the bronze rank, or kind of supports that idea that we're talking about? Because like even sample size here, Rocket Raccoon has had 60,000 matches recorded.
He needs a rework. 100%. Rocket Raccoon needs a rework. I won't even listen to anybody about it. And the reason is because if somebody, if you can get top rank by not doing any damage, like on your character as a support in this game, like either everybody who's in Challenger is awful. Like you're bad. You're all awful. And that's it. Right. And I can be cool with that. We want to say everybody who's a grandmaster who's absolutely better than me at this game is bad at this game. We can do it. But Rocket Raccoon player getting max rank in ranked, not doing any damage. And he finally did like 1 damage by accident, I think. And so he's like probably like really in the dumps. Right. But that alone should tell you that this character is too good at what it does in general. Right?
I don't know, man.
Like it's picked. Yeah, you could say you don't know, but go back to that high tier. He's like at a 55% win rate. Go low tier, he's got a 54.
All ranks, it's a 53%. Let's see what it is across the board. 100. Oh, yeah, no. One above all. Eternity, like these are going to be small sample sizes because of the board. You have to sign up or where it records the games, etc. So if we go back down to Diamond Plus, Rockets is down here in 5th place. Yeah, 52%, roughly 53% win rate, 70,000 matches. So that's a lot of sample size. 36% of games have it. I do think he's a core part of the triple support meta, though, because of the damage amplification. I personally feel he's a very simple character set that then yields high reward simply, but very what is the word? He gets away quickly. He's elusive, and this is a very dive heavy game. So it's like, yeah, it makes sense, but I don't know about a full rework. Characters who fly, who move in at a snail's speed in the air,
like Storm, which is one of the reasons why she needed to have like such a crazy damage buff in the first place. But then you have like people like Rocket Raccoon, who's literally squirrely. Like, no, bro. Like this is it's
that's the
weird.
thing. That's what makes this game. That's what makes this game Super Smash Brothers with items. There's a chaos to this competitiveness. I'm not advocating that this is pure competitive. This is exactly what you want. But that's like the little hero fantasy of it. That's the thing that makes it fun and chaotic and all the intricacies. Yeah, that's kind of wild. That's like that dude in World of Warcraft who leveled a Pandarian without choosing a faction, just by picking herbs all the way up. Like there's something sadistic about it that he got to like rank 1 or top rank without firing a single point of damage, and then he ruined it. He's got to delete his computer now. He's just got to get rid of it. It's all over.
Yeah, he emailed the company and they just said no.
Aww.
He was like, I did 1 damage. Can you remove it? And they were like, no. Like, why email us about this? Like, I don't think that you're 100% wrong, right?
You better go Karen on the manager there and just demand it happen.
Like, I don't think you're wrong in like certain aspects where like it's an easy champion to play, right? But like easy champion netting like high results, so like low skill floor, high impact ceiling is pretty ridiculous. And when you can do that without doing damage in a game that needs the damage for the most part, like I don't know, it just sounds like the kit itself is a little bit too fulfilling in general. And then it just like needs a rework, and like other champions need like reworks for more positive aspects rather than like nerfing. But I don't really want to take it away from Rocket. Let's just have other people up, I guess.
I do think that brings up a bigger conversation for me, but I want to talk about the numbers a little bit more, and then we can pivot to that point. One of the surprising things that seems to happen, and like I don't think it's that surprising, but like generally speaking, before I was seeing that Hulk is like one of the most banned heroes. Here we go. Yeah. Number 1 is Wolverine. This is across all ranks in comped, 55,000 matches. Half of the games, Wolverine is eliminated, banned out. Right?
Yeah, it makes sense.
I don't
it's
totally.
Like people want to play. Sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, I don't totally get it. I do think he's a good character. I do think that people figured out how to play him, and he kind of gets value in a simple way. It's a very pounce kidnap kind of style. But then the Hulk one here. Sorry, actually, let's stay on Wolverine. You were about to say something. What was your thoughts on that one?
I swear to God, it's probably just people's information that people get of just like, he shreds tanks. And we want to play goats. We want to play 3 tanks. Just get rid of the guy who shreds tanks. Like that's it. Like they're going to play, instead of playing goats, they're going to play 2 tanks. They're going to play goats plus a Wolverine, right? Swap out a tank and Wolverine's. I said this before. Wolverine's effective health is relatively like high overall. And if you're going to play him in a 3-3 comp, but you're going to put him right there and he does more damage to the other 3 tanks, like that would be where you want to ban out like the champion. Like, so it kind of makes sense to me.
Well, I know he's like
damage he does.
He's a very popular Marvel character, of course, right? Like people love Wolverine overall, even as far as Marvel Rivals hero list, rivalsmeta.com comparing it, he's B tier for them right there. So like, that's interesting too. Like he's good, but he's not great. I wonder how much though, if it is that like everybody wants to play their favorite character, right? Or as well, if it's like influencers, like, oh, the team captain is such a really good Wolverine, low gang in the house. He actually destroys it. But that average player, he ain't him. That's for sure. He ain't him. And here you have 50% of games he's getting removed because so many people are trying to be him and causing enough of a ruckus where they're like, nah, we ain't bothering. Not going to even think about it kind of thing. So like the Wolverine thing, that kind of feels kind of weird to me in that way. And like, he's B tier for this character, for this thing. And yes, rankings can be subjective, but like if we look at Hawkeye, Hela, and then even Hulk here, Storm does crazy damage and is considered S tier on this thing. And like, she's 3rd most banned. Why isn't she banned more? Well, because her pick rate is 11%, but then Wolverine's pick rate is like 9%. Like there's something that doesn't add up to me here, and it might just be that it factor where like I want to play my favorite hero and Wolverine's cool, so I want to go rawr.
I mean, so like the counter argument for like the Storm thing would be like if they already had like depending on the team comps and everything like that, because if they're gonna have someone who's gonna stick to like Storm sucks on moving. That's why she's overtuned on damage. She's like one of the least mobile characters in this game. She really sucks for moving. And if they have really high dive mobility characters that are really going to sit on Storm and take her out, then like, what's the point of playing her?
Well, right? I have a
like,
counterpoint.
Sure, she does a lot of damage.
I have a counterpoint to that because I felt like even though she's still kind of slow, even before the buff on her, like if Black Panther or somebody was trying to dive in on you, you pop your other aura and you do the lightning damage that's auto hit. So like you try to hit them with like a primary and then it auto hits lightning twice in the duration and like they're done for kind of thing. So like I thought she was a good counter dive. I agree that the mobility is kind of slow, but that makes you have to be more proactive with your positioning, more defensive. Like I don't think she has fall off damage and it pierces. So like she could be on the other side of the map and just fire away.
It's a little slow though, right? Like she fires really slow without having her E charge.
That was the buff. That was the buff. They made the projectiles faster.
The projectiles are faster, but not her animations, not her attacks.
Oh yeah, the attack speed is the same.
Faster.
Yeah,
the attack speed is abysmal, which is why like another thing, like because if the game is chaos, everybody's jumping around you and everything like that, right? So like if they do have like a Black Panther or a oh my god, Iron Fist, right? Like what are you gonna do? Really, what are you gonna do? You're gonna be like, I got it, guys. Like, no, you're gonna try to fly up into the air. Both of them jump into the air against you. Like, that's crazy. Like, which is why she's overtuned on damage. And then like counterpoint to your like Wolverine being banned or pick rate and stuff like that. Like, look at Cloak. Nobody came into this fucking game knowing who Cloak and Dagger was. Like, majority of the people who were playing Cloak and Dagger have no clue to like anything about her. Maybe they watched the Teen Titans show. I don't know. Like maybe, like everybody knows Doctor Strange. Some people like Luna Snow is another character no one had anything on, but like her costume is great and cosplayable, and like people literally did the thing.
Come on, man. You telling me you didn't watch that Verbo show randomly where they had the Cloak and Dagger original series on that like third-rate streaming service for Comic-Con in 2016? You're telling me you didn't watch that?
No, I've watched tons of bad shows on Freeform, but I didn't watch that. Sorry.
So I can get the Cloak and Dagger thing. Cloak and Dagger is kind of coming up as like an interesting like character. I think she doesn't really fit, or they don't really fit into the triple support meta. Luna Snow definitely does. I thought Luna Snow was a original character for this. I thought this was one of their like new creations.
No idea who she like.
I don't think, but looking at the numbers here, generally speaking, they're banned fourth, fifth most as far as the what is it, the sample size here. 300 matches for Cloak and Dagger. They only have a 48% win rate, so then they're performing kind of low. They've got a 56% pick rate, so they're picked in more than half the games. They're banned 1 out of every 8 sort of games. 1 out of every 8 games or 12 games. I think I did the math wrong. 1 out of every 12 games. And then they've only got a 48% win rate. So it's below 50. They're kind of in line for a buff, but then like that buff is going to put them in Storm territory where like the overtune thing. This is interesting here because this is something we've talked about in the past. How important is player sentiment versus actual physical numbers to a player or to a developer when doing a patch note, especially in a game like this, when it is so chaotic and so fast paced and all over and intense. Like sometimes that player sentiment really makes a difference of what's being played and the meta going on, right?
I mean, like we've seen it time and time again. It doesn't matter what game it is. League of Legends, Super Smash Brothers, like what everybody thinks is good doesn't mean that it's actually good, right? Like it happens in Magic all the time, like as well. Like the card that people are worried about, and then, oh, look, the other card is the thing you got to worry about because you got rid of that other card, but you didn't think 2 steps ahead, right? That always happens in like all of these games. So
Yeah,
I'm not
you had
really like. Go ahead.
You had a quote a couple weeks ago. Players always innovate in unintended ways. And like part of what you said now too is that you don't have to play a good character to be good at the character. I think that's a part of it too. You can basically be top percent of optimization, do a lot of damage, make something happen. It's just about getting value in the game. It's just interesting to see that value then being represented here. Because like if we look at the stats here, win rate would mean that they generally created value for themselves, for their team. They took away value from the other team. Ban rate is just, player sentiment. Pick rate is player sentiment, right? So like we have this interesting factoid numbers and it doesn't tell the whole picture, but like it's definitely telling a story. And kind of pivot hard, I 100% agree that Hulk should be banned almost 50% of the time because that team up with Iron Man is the problem. It does too much damage together. So like, do not even let them bother. Don't even let them try. But he still has a 51% win rate. Like, so he's getting value and getting banned almost half the time.
Same thing with Wolverine, right? So like when he loses, Wolverine's in the game. When he wins, Wolverine's not in the game. Makes sense. Like the numbers even out.
That's part two where you can have the statistic manipulation. But I do enjoy that we actually get to see these kind of things. We can take a look at all the ranks. This is a third-party site, rivalsmeta.com, where you can break down the characters and the matches. There are a large sample size, like right here, Cloak and Dagger has results from over 300,000 different matches overall. But we can also take a look at Marvel Rivals and see some of the information from there. They're a little bit more limited. You can see attack speed, damage numbers, etc. if we go to the hero specific page. But if we go to comp here, we can see pick rate and win rate. They do not show ban rate, I believe. No. Okay. But as far as Marvel Rivals is concerned, in just all ranks on PC, Luna Snow has the highest pick rate for games, Cloak and Dagger second, Mantis. And like this would make sense because I think this is part of that 3 support GOATs meta for the base. I think you can see Rocket sometimes in here. I wouldn't be surprised if she's a little down. Not even in the top 10 there. But then we switch over into the win rate. Mantis has the highest win rate at 55%, hella low-key, according to Marvel Rivals specifically. Great to see this information. Great, we can balance it and check and stuff. And there's a little bit more transparency, and we are seeing a bit of a different overall. Let's take a look at Diamond again, just to kind of give a comparison. Yeah, here we go. Hulk, win rate 54%, pick rate only 8%. I'm not seeing Wolverine on this one, but Wolverine was one of the top banned, and we're not filtering through that, so we're not going to entirely know. Nick, before we move on, do we want to take a look at any hero specific, any number specific? Rocket Raccoon here, your dude who needs to be completely reworked is number 4 in win rate, according to this.
It's just a stat. Imagine if you played Fortnite and could just win the game all the time by not doing anything and not building. That's stupid.
They literally made a mode.
You cut the game.
They literally made a mode where the no build. But I guess
not what we're talking about. That's a different game.
I kind of equate it to being like Mercy in Overwatch, where he's just heal botting the whole time. And he throws out like little Moira orbs. So like it is kind of simple and like boring. You're running away and you're throwing Moira orbs. You're hiding. To each their own when the play style, man. But for that to work, I'd be really shocked if somebody else does it, to be honest,
you didn't even say he was playing. Like, you just described what he does, and you didn't say he was playing the game. So, like, again, the value that he's putting out there is probably too high for him not playing the fucking game. And I don't need to say it again, but do no damage, make top rank, don't play a portion of the game, don't play the game, do the thing still. That seems real silly.
I'm going to go out on a limb to wrap this up, though. My man, Mr. Rocket Raccoon, no damage main. He's doing a pacifist run, of course, and he's in the healer, not support gang for sure. He's showing it that you're supposed to be healing your team and not doing damage to the other team, because that is not what healers do. That is what damage dealers do. End of story.
Sure.
Hey, Billy here. Wanted to take a quick minute to let you know a few things. If you're enjoying the content so far, please consider liking and subscribing. It's free for you and it really helps us out. You can find the Esports Meta live every week on Twitch and YouTube. It's where we film the podcast, play games, hang out, and chat. If social media is more your vibe, check us out on Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, Threads, or Blue Sky. This is a video game community that's excited to talk about esports, so jump on in the conversation. Of course, you can find more content like this on YouTube. Just hit subscribe right here or here. Either way, we appreciate you being here, so thanks for watching. Let's get back to the show.
Sure.
All right.
Sure.
So if you're good with that, let's move on into our next topic. Get a little less controversial, or maybe not. We're going to move into the LTA, talking about League of Legends Week 2, and we've already got some major news. Essentially, we've got some scores. Let's run down that first. All right. So Nick, I'm going to go over last week's scores, basically, and then we're going to hit up the news and what it kind of means here. So more or less, we came in first podcast of the year last week for round 1 already happened. We did those scores. Moving into round 2 here, which was this past weekend. Let me scroll in a little bit more and get us into position. Team Liquid faced off against 100 Thieves. 100 Thieves taking it 2-1. 100 Thieves went on to the next round and face off against Cloud9. Cloud9 made it there by beating FlyQuest 2-1. 100 Thieves ultimately took the win, took the dub against Cloud9 Kia 1-0 on that. That's not a real number, is it? That can't be. Is the game going on right now, Nick? Tell me something.
You're just cracking up. You're just... It was just the best of ones.
Oh, okay. Okay. That's more towards the finals here. Round 3.
Yeah, this is just knockout. This is just knockouts for all this stuff. So like basically everything is prepping, right? This first split is really just here to get the, we'll say, creme de la creme of the both sides, and then just have the cross conference happen. So it'll be, LTA South versus LTA North. LTA South is going to absolutely dumpster us on viewership for sure.
I don't think that's too much of a stretch of a take there either, though.
No, that's like 100% what's going to happen. There isn't a question that they're going to dumpster us on viewership. League of Legends is like football in South America. Like they find a team that they resonate with. They literally play, like they're all about it. Like they watch it in bars and shit. It's like Dragon Ball Z in South America, bro. Like everybody's with it down in South America.
That'd be kind of cool.
So
Maybe
that's it.
Maybe we should get into that field. Start an esports bar. Nah,
it's just a bar.
It's just a bar.
It's just a bar. That's it. Like we're just trying to get to the cross conference. We do the cross conference, and then after that we have the first stand tournament, which is the first international tournament, which will have one person from the LTA, one from the Asia, one from China, one from Korea, and then one from the EMEA. Really,
it's only going to be that limited, like one spot per region. They're not going with like 2 or 1.5 kind of things. Fight for it.
Okay, not for this or anything like that. Like, this is the first time they're just taking everybody, one person from every area.
Okay. Yeah. So kind of moving on with the scores here from this past weekend. The lower bracket, we had Disguise go against Dignitas. Dignitas took the victory 2-1, officially eliminating Disguise Toast's team out of this split. Not going to see their faces on stage for a bit. And the final score here, Lion versus Shopify Rebellion. Shopify Rebellion squeaking out the victory 2-1 over Lion. Was it Moist Critical and Ludwig living to fight another day here in the split, while Disguise is see you next month, buddy.
Disguise one is hilarious for one simple reason, is that he like opened his mouth, right? Because like him and Scar are big buddies, and literally he just like gets on the mic as like an owner and he's like, "Fuck Dignitas." He's like, what they did to Scar up, fuck them. He's like, they need to not be around. I don't care. Can I say that? Will I get fined? Like, there's a clip of it. Like, he's like, and then just boom, look what happened. But yeah, it was a fun game. I watched it. It was fun.
That's 2 weeks of some trash talking around this content creator sort of vibe feel now. And like, this is NA doing it. It's not even Los Ratones over in EU making the moves happen that way.
Yeah, the Los Ratones. No, they're like, they talk the least amount of crap, but you know, it's really funny that the people who talk crap lost. Like Disguise lost, Blippo lost. Like he's like, this is what you bring to the table, guys. Boom, and then like, oh, look who's at the table, sir. You can go sit somewhere else. I hope
Cloud9 Kia made a point of them to be like, hey, yeah, you got to go sit at the other table. You're not allowed here.
Yeah, it would be pretty funny if they do start talking trash, but you know, then they get beat by 100 Thieves, which was like, you know, it wasn't bad, but it's just not as fun when it's like best of ones, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, I hear you.
Best of ones is pretty boring now.
I know our big criticism we had last year was that it was the same 7 teams playing each other. So like you kept seeing the same matchups and the same sort of flavor and the same results happening. And then it was like best of 5s. I don't think it actually was. I'm being hyperbolic, but yeah, like you just have that repetitiveness. So like this would be the opposite to that, having best of 3 or sorry, best of 3s, first to 2, and then a single elimination. That threw me because like this is the communication thing I've told you about with League that bothers me as a non-League player is like they're kind of bad at explanation. I tried to watch the video to figure out if, you know, because you said that Disguise was eliminated. I'm like, okay, from the whole year, or that it took me like 10, 15 minutes and going to their stuff to actually like see, oh, we'll be back in split 2. Officially, unofficially,
they're here for the whole entire year, right? Like relegations will happen next year, promotional tournament, whatever they want to call it.
Yeah,
will happen next year. So could be after Worlds and stuff, probably. So during that break, we'll have like a nice fun. It'll bridge the gap, really. So
yeah, we'll see how it pans out for them as they come back. But I was just saying, like, that's where like a friction point I had there. They're kind of bad at communication because it took me like 10 minutes to find this tweet. Okay, I confirmed that there. So then when is split 2? When can I watch them again? What's the tournament they're going to be playing for? This and that. And like, it just all felt kind of like a little difficult, but maybe that's where we come in and try to do a little bit better for them, maybe help them out, smooth them out. But it also might be a me problem. I might be the imbecile in this situation where I got to learn the language of League of Legends because you guys are not smooth brains. You're definitely wrinkly on the gray matter there. And we could definitely tell. He's a whole other level though, man.
Don't talk ish about this game. Tyler won't come at you. Say Tyler won 3 times in the bathroom mirror and he just appears.
Just like Tyler won. Who's Tyler won? He is always perpetually flexing, right? And I feel like most of his trash talk comes from his muscles, not really from anything else. Correct me if I'm wrong on that one, man. Or am I just summoning the devil?
I don't know about it. You might be summoning the devil because as far as League is concerned, his trash talk is not anything about his muscles except for maybe muscle memory and how badly he whoops people in that game.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It's coming from his muscles, man. It's coming from this like brawny, like place of strength. They're not like high level. Correct me if I'm wrong. I haven't seen it. Maybe I see the highlights there, man, but they're not like that intellectual insult.
I think Tyler Wood's it seems like a pretty chill dude. Like he gets animated, but I think he gets animated the same way that I get animated. Like he's not really like 100% in about that intensity, but just about we'll say he's about the bit rather than the moment.
Yeah, I love watching him duel against Soda Pop in the OnlyFangs duel for Guildmaster. That was a lot of fun. But I think it was Soda Pop playing the straight man on that, where Tyler 1 was kind of playing the lovable goof where it's like, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm gonna still beat your ass kind of thing. And like is that generally the shtick, or is that just a bit that he had for that?
That's a bit he had for that. There's no doubt in my mind.
All right.
There's no shot that this man went in there. Like, I'm not even joking. He's the type of person who would probably have like another account and literally just be like playing duels, like just to be able to like win a duel. Like pure sweat.
Well,
that man is pure sweat.
Let's see if we can ask him ourselves by summoning him again. So just a quick seance. Tyler won, League of Legends sucks.
That's crazy.
Crazy yeah, no. Let's see if he comes at us on social media, etc. If somebody else wants to, I don't know.
Coming at us. I'm literally jumping on that bandwagon. Like, you're going down, Billy. Like, you're cooked. 100% cooked, deep fried, straight carbon, bro. You straight carbon. You ain't walking out of the house anymore.
I know what I'm going to get you for your birthday, though, Nick. I'm gonna get Tyler one on Cameo, and I'm going to ask him to roast you. For a solid like 50 or $100, man. What's his going rate? If he, I think it'd be less than 5.
Less than 5 what?
5
challenger titles?
Yes.
I don't even know if he's on there, bro.
Yeah.
Other one is not on there. Get wrecked.
All right. Well,
dreams averted.
Moving back into serious sort of topics here, scores again. We've wrapped that up. We talked about Disguise being knocked out from this split. The other content creator sort of team, Spotify Rebellion, formerly now joined with Moist Critical's team, Moist Esports, still fighting for their lives as they go into week 3. Looks like they're going to be fighting Team Liquid Honda for that spot. FlyQuest Dignitas going head to head in the matchup coming up. And we'll see how that all moves forward. Nick, just a quick prediction. What do you see this bracket round? Because it is a short one, and that's also why it's a little bit shocking that a team like Disguise was knocked out after 2 matches. What do you see happening with this short sort of tournament split, and who do you see moving on from LTA North here to get beat by LTA South in ratings?
Let's see. That's a little bit of a tough one, probably. That one's tough, but I'll give this one to FlyQuest and Team Liquid. I don't think the FlyQuest game is going to be tough. I think that's going to be. I literally think FlyQuest is going to come back from the lower bracket. I never like anybody. The lower bracket is for the first round losers. Everywhere else, no. I hate this. Nonsense. Like, I literally think like FlyQuest is going to come back, and then I'm just going to be watching like FlyQuest watch C9 again. And if that happens again, I'm pissed. I don't even care if the game is good. I'm just really mad that I'm watching the same thing, but I don't even listen to the same song twice. Like, it's absolute nonsense if I have to watch the same game twice within like the same week. And yeah, I do listen to the same song twice.
Okay.
I saw that face. But you get what I'm saying. I don't watch the same movie twice. I don't watch reruns of a TV show. That is 100% true. Those ones, I do repeat the songs, but movies and TV shows I won't watch. And I'm not going to watch. I lose so much interest immediately with they're like, hey guys, last week you had this one, but rematch it up. And it's like, no, that's not fun. Maybe like Cloud9 gets to face one person from the lower bracket that they didn't get to face. And yeah, maybe it's a stomping. Maybe it is. Maybe it's not. Who knows?
Well, we'll see what happens. Just a couple days away from here at the end of this week. And, we'll maybe see Tyler one. I'll be sure to ask him if you should watch TV shows more than once, movies more than once, and listen to songs on repeat, and watching a vengeance arc, a rematch is a good thing or not. We already summoned him. It's just a matter of time before he decides. He is judge and jury coming up on this one. Nick, with League and LTA North here, anything else to wrap up us here? Any focus on from the scores this past weekend and the games we're looking forward to? I know you're saying FlyQuest is probably going to take it easy over Dignitas. For this coming week, who do you think is going to end up getting the final spot or making it to that tournament for LTA North? Or LTA in general?
I think they take 2 people, 3 people. I can't remember how many they're supposed to be taking into the cross conference thing. I personally, I think probably it's going to be like 100 Thieves versus like FlyQuest. Not 100 Thieves versus FlyQuest, but it's going to be FlyQuest who takes it. What is it? 2 teams for the cross conference?
I'm trying to see. I think it's top 2. Yeah. Right now it's 100 Thieves and Cloud9.
No, it's 4. It's 4.
Oh, 4.
It's top 4. It's got to be top 4. If it's not top 4, that's just insanity.
Okay,
so
yeah, I see. I do see that. Let me bring it up on screen here. This is Liquipedia. I'm a little bit more familiar with it. They generally do lay out information a little bit better here. Yeah. But yeah, top 4 qualifying for cross conference tournament here. Getting blocked off here. A little bit more explicitly shown than the League of Legends, which I hope and wish they would do a little bit better. But of course, if you're in the know, you're in the know. So why do you have to ask if you already know? So yeah, top 4 teams. Who's taking the last 2 spots? FlyQuest?
Yeah, it's like FlyQuest and like probably Team Liquid, but like Shopify is like they're all like it's not too much like overwhelming difference between like I don't want to say like, you know, these players aren't one's better than the other or anything like that. You know what? Shopify's definitely losing. No disrespect. I saw one of their players. I forgot he was on the team. I won't say which one it is because I'm not going to get hit for that. But definitely Shopify Rebellion's on the lost train.
My guy. We're talking a lot about Tyler 1 here. Channel your inner Tyler 1 and put him on blast.
No, I'm not doing that. No.
All right.
No, because then he plays like a fucking god, and then I become like I become an idiot, like easily an idiot overnight. Just like I'm just gonna quit. Like I call this one person out, and then I'm cooked. No thanks, bro. No thanks.
Yeah, you're just gonna do the cold shoulder again. You know, just kind of stay stoic, like you did at the beginning of the episode. Leave me to be the fool here. I see how it is. That's fine.
I mean, you could guess who's your favorite, who's your least favorite on that team. You can do that.
Squippy.
People can comment. You can comment, tweet at me, private message me on Twitter. I might tell you. You don't know. Yeah. Find me on Instagram. I don't care. Maybe I'll tell you. Maybe I won't. Maybe we'll have a phone call on Discord and I'll literally tell you exactly who it is on voice chat, but I ain't writing it down. Not putting it in recording.
How about if you're watching right now? Thanks for joining us. Thanks for sticking around, etc., etc. But let's play a game. Make a comment. Who do you think Nick's talking about? Who do you think is the worst player on that team or not?
Messed up, dude. It's so messed up. I said private message.
I'm sorry. You're right.
You're like comment
full
who
blast.
The shitter is on
full blast. Let's go.
Who's the
I'm just coming at all the content creators. I'm going to be destroyed. Oh, okay.
No, it's definitely me. I'm the shitter.
But in that way too, we're like to have fun here. These guys are definitely great at their game. They made it this far. They're competing for high level situations. You know, we love talking about it. We just want to have a little fun with it, make some banter going along, etc. But yeah, if you are watching still, let us know who you think. And like who you could say Billy sent them, and then we'll get Tyler 1 to avenge them, etc. But I think that kind of sums up everything for the LTA here, man. Unless you had something else you want to point out.
No, I have like another thing that I wanted to say about like League for the most part.
Yeah, let's go.
So like Cadrol, right? I didn't say this to you before, right? Like Cadrol put out a new app. Well, it's going to be an app soon, right? But it's a new website, right? It's called it's like DPM. I just had it open. Such a goof. DPM.lol. Right?
Okay.
You want to shoot over that right quick? And just check it out. It's got a lot of cool stuff. There's a lot of different like features and stuff. It seems a little bit better than a lot of the normal websites that we get, like when we're going to like the data collection and stuff like that.
Okay.
Tell us the cool things,
what it is, what we're seeing, what we can find here.
So it's just like u.gg. It's a stats website. It's a, aggregated stats website. You can find, tier lists, who like the pick ban rates, the win list and whatever rank, just like we were on over there with Marvel Rivals. Right. But the big thing about this one is it has a super cool feature, right? So up at the top right, you can see it has like, leaderboards, tiers and builds, right? Then there's another one called matchups.
All right.
So like
Head on in.
this is go on into it and then choose like just pick Aatrox first because he's like the first champion. And then go to the next one and then click like Gragas. Type in Gragas.
All right. So what am I expecting
so now,
here?
like,
They're going to sim a fight here?
On this website? No, dude, this is every single pro player or challenger level like badass. Like anybody who plays this has played this matchup in recent times. Right? So like this one has like 12 days ago, 27 days ago, 39 days ago, 43 days ago, right? And he goes to that exact game. It'll go to their VOD, it'll just play it on here. There's a quick access to tell you everything about it, right? Some of them aren't working 100%.
So is this like AI that just like saw that this fight matchup happened and it clipped it essentially and then like stored the clip?
This is on their Twitch.
This is live right now?
Not live. This is their VOD.
Oh. Yeah.
But it's at a
only
certain point in the VOD.
Oh, it's timestamped. It's a timestamp of that fight.
It's a timestamp VOD. Yeah. It's 1 hour and 7 minutes into his stream on this VOD. He plays Aatrox versus, Woon. He plays Aatrox versus Gragas, an hour and 7 minutes into his stream. And so like this, like legitimately is just like a really, really cool feature that I haven't seen anywhere else before. They're going to be coming out with like an app and everything like that. It's awesome so far.
So
like it's got all the other stuff that you look at.
What do you expect to gain from this? What is the benefit of being able to see this? What would you like to extract from watching this video? I'm playing a little bit dumb here, but I want to get your opinion on that. I want you to kind of run me through it. You can get
specific things that you won't be able to find anywhere else in the game by watching higher level players. Like if you already do, you can learn certain things, right? So there's like certain combos that you can't even perform in the game that you think you might be able to perform, but because you're not good, like me, even though like, we can, I'm above average, right? Even though we're not good, right? We'll be able to find certain things to improve our skill, learn like where they're warding, stuff like that, why they're warding it. They might not even say it, but you might just be able to learn it off of like your comprehension of the game and how you're playing in general, right? And so like one of the things that I found out was literally there's a champion called Rel. She's got two forms. She's either up on her horse or not on her horse, right? And her moves act differently when she's not on her horse. So there's certain combos that you can perform on the horse versus that same combo you can't do on the horse. Like they can flash in between. It like gives your opponent the opportunity to think. So like there's little things that you can learn on that, but also learning how to like play your champion if you're trying to learn how to play a new champion in the top lane, right? If you're trying to learn how to play in the mid lane.
This definitely seems important for when you're looking for specific matchups. I would be interested in seeing if it had like a generalized sort of like skill thing. Cause that was something when I was working with, what was that? That like video game, Gamify? Was it Gamify? The one that Sean was working for? The coaching site? Metafy. Metafy. That's what it was. Metafy.gg. I was consulting for them briefly, very, very, very briefly. And that was a concept they had, like, because the whole idea was coaching. Is like, that'd be cool too if they can like present concepts of mechanics, etc., and have visual examples referenced to it. And like this seems to be doing half of that already with the matchup. That'd be kind of cool if like they show you the proper way to push lane or something, right? For like a lower bronze kind of player or all the way up to the high. How do you dance? What kind of strategies do you want to take, etc.? There's tons of video evidence to this. So like I can see how it potentially revolutionizes knowledge and awareness.
So like with like what you're asking, that last little bit, like that, like there's other areas that actually probably do a little bit better than this, just in general, with like those specific things of like if you're trying to learn a specific like skill. Oh my god, I'm literally gonna say the website wrong. Like skill capped. GG like does really like good videos for a lot of people who can like learn something like that. And that's not like that's not really something that you're like looking for from like this website. Like most of the time you're looking for like your matchups, like what build order might be better, right? And like you can, if you want to look at like the leaderboards, you can see it like which person the way that it scores is like which person actually made the most difference is a little bit different from other algorithms.
Yeah.
And so like they'll, you know, there's a little bit of other stuff, but I really enjoy the matchup feature just in general. Just because like I'm a little bit, go ahead.
I agree. It seems like a very interesting feature, and especially for that specificality for the matchup, because it's not something you've seen before, but it could be something that really like helps you get experience without getting experience, essentially, right? You can see how the right way to play it, the wrong way to play it, mistakes that were made, etc. You know, especially without having to like go through it yourself and like bang your head on a wall for like hours trying to like outplay it and just blame your teammates.
Yeah, exactly. Like, especially, you know, all the champions that there are and stuff like that. There's odds for a lot of players that they haven't actually placed against a person who plays a specific champion with 150 of them, right? There's situations where you just might come across like a, you know, a support that's just not played a lot, but it's pretty good at higher ELOs, stuff like that. But that's basically like it. I really enjoy this. They're starting to make like, there should be like an app coming soon. And there's a tons of apps like this on the market, but I really enjoy the matchup feature. I thought that was just awesome. Like, so if you like learning about League and going through it, like it's super dope to even like check it out.
Yeah. What's the website again?
DPM.lol.
DPM.lol. If that sounds interesting to you, check it out as well. Go see what that's about. If you also enjoy the matchup feature like Nick here, definitely worth taking a looking deeper. I am interested in how. Yeah, go for it.
Too, right? Dude, it's got like, they're all, like, if you go back to the homepage on the website. Sorry, I'm sure you exited out already. You're like, we're done with this shit. Click.
I did. I had just done that. All right, back into the browsing, and we're in the homepage.
Right? Look at the click on that Chovy versus Faker thing right there.
This.
Yep.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
Right?
Yeah, you can't see the mouse, so yeah, bottom left. Okay. What are we looking at with this?
Scroll down.
Is this stats? It's just a head-to-head matchup against two random players.
This is every single game that they've ever played against each other.
And they're just spotlighting the stats between the two in the games.
Yeah.
Oh, that's kind of sick.
And you can search for other players like.
So Faker
versus Chovy, like,
has a +4 win on this right now. He's got a lower or KDA. All right. It really does go in depth, and they even break down the champions being played. I guess it's only like the top 5 champions here, because I imagine they both have played something else. But yeah,
I mean they've definitely played more champions. Those are just like their top champions, right? So like probably maxes out at like 6. But you can see like Baker's played 22 games of his year. Jesus Christ, they've both played the same amount of Ari games. Stuff like that. This is like a super awesome tool just in general. And I hope that like my personal hope is that they're able to like take this and then also give me the clips of these games. Right.
Yeah.
So like give me send me the VOD or something.
At the very least, they can steer you in the right direction, because you can see literally, you know, the game, where they played it, the cup, right? Who they played. So like you'd be able to Google search that no problem on your own. But I could definitely see how easy then for them to like in-house it on site, just have it one click, you're on the VOD.
Yeah, it's going to be, I mean, and then they also have like, they have that prediction area, which is like new and stuff like that. But,
all right, so team. I was hoping they had like a team matchup where you can like put a team against a team, but this seems to just be a breakdown statistically of the roster and then who they're playing and etc. So that's awesome to see. Very cool website. And like, I do like this part of AI and how they're able to sort through mountains and mountains of data that's just being aggregated, and they can present it in new ways that will change the experience for the user, for players, for anybody who's just kind of an aficionado of that information. Awesome, dude. Yeah. Awesome find. All right. So on that note, if you are ready to move away from the website, unless you want me to bring up another one before I close anything.
Yeah, go to what's that one? You know the one.
You know the one. Yeah, that one. All right, I'm already ahead of you, bro.
Yeah.
All right.
What do we got?
We're going to go to something else that's just not as sadistic, but maybe twice as sadistic. I don't know. We're going to be talking about Overwatch 2. We're going to start off by recapping OWCS scores from their Stage 1, Week 1 event. This was a pretty great event. It's the first time we've seen on the biggest stage, essentially, for the regular season. Pick bans, the new operating system, and relegation starting us off. We're focusing mostly on NA, EMEA, and APAC regions have kicked off and playing separately, but we're going to focus on North America here. And let's start off by Friday, January 31st. Timeless faced off against Team Liquid, taking a victory in a 3-0 fashion. Nightmare lost to Space Station Gaming 3-1. Space Station Gaming looking dominant that day. That day there was a lot of nerves, a lot of 3-0s from both sides of the pond here. Then on February 1st, Saturday, day 2 of this weekend, Avidity played against Amplify. I believe it was Amplify. Yeah. And they won 3-1. Avidity taking the win 3-1. Rad Esports over Shikigami 3-0, dominating. And then we got our first close match for the North America region with Nightmare versus Timeless. Both teams' rosters have been looking pristine. They've been talking about it. And here we have a barn burner to the finish, 3-2, Nightmare over Timeless. Then our last day, we only had 2 matches. Shikigami facing against Amplify. Amplify losing to Shikigami 3-1. So another somewhat dominant, heavy momentum swing match. But we're starting to see that get chipped away more and more as the weekend went on. Maybe it was nerves. And our final match for this week 1 score, Team Liquid faced off against Space Station Gaming, and they finished the rock, paper, scissors trifecta of this team beats this team, but that team beats this team. Oh, this is ultimate Pokemon matchup chart with Team Liquid winning 3-2 over Space Station Gaming. It was quite interesting ultimately seeing how that round robin turn into a round robin where rock beat paper, paper beat scissors, and so on, man. I think it got a little bit more Bazinga in that one from, Big Bang Theory kind of style, but it was all over the place, man. So ultimately, pretty straightforward weekend, good weekend for Overwatch. It was a lot of fun to watch and a lot of fun to see teams and players get used to that new ban system at this level of competition and not just in that throwaway sense of qualifiers against randoms here. With the pick bans, I also wanted to highlight, where is it? Our current record and standings for it. Rad Esports is at the top, something neither of us would have said looking at the roster last week, but they're a strong team, bringing out the 1-0, 3-0ing in the match with a +3 differential. I imagine that's not going to totally stay there very long, but they have shown they've got the propensity and the skill, taking that W and
they didn't play 2 games.
they definitely showed they know the meta, man. They 3-0'd that. What was it? That. Let me go back and see. They 3-0'd. Who was it? Shikigami. Yeah, and like Shikigami. That's what I'm saying here, man. There's like a bit of a rock, paper, scissors. Rad Esports beat Shikigami. Shikigami beat Amplify. Amplify lost both of them, so that cuts the cycle here. But when we go up to Timeless, Timeless beat Team Liquid. Team Liquid beat SSG. SSG beat Nightmare. Nightmare beat Timeless, man. It's just full circle. I don't know. I'm speechless.
Yeah, the math equation ain't mathing. Just a little need more teams.
The League of Legends guy just say, let's get more teams.
I say that about League. Get more teams.
Yeah.
I don't like that. 50 pros in a professional league is that's kind of low. I think there's more bowlers. But anyway.
I'll have to fact check you on that. But back to this the regular season. 8 teams, top 8 here. Rad Esports number 1, Avidity taking number 2. Both have only played 1 match, but both showing dominant force. +3 differential, +2 differential. Timeless showing a lot of strength off of that initial match, but then kind of wavering a bit in that second one. Ultimately, Barn Burner winning 5-3 in their total, series running. with a +2 differential there. Space Station Gaming, same boat, looking strong, had a pretty close game. Nightmare, 5th place tied. Shikigami, 5th place tied. Team Liquid, bringing us up from the rear, but they showed signs of life with that win. Amplify, struggling a little bit, maybe some jitters, etc., but we'll see how they do coming up in the week 2 matchups going on and forward. We're not really going to tell a lot here, but I think it's going to set the stage, because I remember last year when we were talking about OWCS and like the teams we're looking out for and the rosters that were going to be like, yeah, this is definitely the one, this is going to dominate. I think we have a different sort of beast on our hands in NA, where it's not just going to be one team dominating overall. And I think this narrative is going to see that kind of develop further and the rivalries develop around it. Like I said, very simply, A team beat B team, B team beat C team beat D team, and then, cycle renews. So let's see if that continues as we move forward. But possibly the reason why, Nick, is pick bans. I know you've had some opinions in the past about banning in Overwatch that needs to happen quicker, sooner, faster, etc. But here we are in Overwatch Champions Series, and we've got it, not just in Riyadh, not just for Esports World Cup, but we've got it specifically for this competition here. I'm going to show you a chart
per match, like per round. Sorry, do you just get 1-1 still? Because 1-1 is trash.
So yes, it is still that, but arguably it makes a world of difference in these metas with a roster that is, limited by comparison to League of Legends or Marvel, how it's developing. I can show you the input sequence here on this chart that I was able to kind of put together from the data on Liquipedia. You do get each team gets 1 ban per map. After that map is finished, they recycle, redo. You can't use the same ones, etc., etc. Pretty straightforward. And we can kind of go over the details here. But looking at this chart here specifically, let me see if I can give us a little bit of a better view of the numbers here without it going nutso. This is always so hard to do. Okay. I think that's good enough. Actually not. That's better for you.
Mouse wheel, bro.
Dude, it for some reason in Excel, the spreadsheets, it's wicked.
Yeah, I know.
But looking at the chart here, we can see that Juno was the most banned hero from this past weekend. Ashe, Anna, and Winston were up there, as well as Hazard and Lucio overall. Anything else kind of standing out for you, Nick, off the bat here, off the get?
This is just hero. What is he? Bans again? We're on bans right now? Not picks?
Yeah, this is just heroes and the stuff times they were banned.
Can we just delete Torbjorn from the game? Can we delete him? Or can we just change him? Can we cut it out in general? Like, this game does not have, like, how many characters this game has? -1 for sure. Torbjorn, when was the last time Torbjorn was played in competitive?
It would take me a second to let you know, but I think it was actually in DreamHack, man. I think it was in DreamHack as far as...
And wasn't a troll pick?
I think it might have been a little bit, but I do think there was a part of the meta that was like Torb was a viable counter pick. But yeah, it is few and far between when like a Symmetra or a Torbjorn is in that sort of position. Usually it's like a one-off niche team that likes to run it because it does throw a little bit of extra flavor in what their strategy is. But yeah, man, let's take a look a little bit at the numbers. Might be a little bit easier to see. This control wheel on a spreadsheet is the worst, bro. But anyway,
you're supposed to combo it with the actual magnifier on the browser itself. It's Excel. Excel sucks, but you have to use both. Anyway, it's okay.
Anyway, just looking at the numbers, it's a very quick arbitrary, but I'm going to be continuing this sort of tracker, keeping tabs on everything. The heroes getting banned week to week here in OWCS, see how it trends. We are expecting a bit of a shakeup coming up, but this was a very fast-paced meta. This was a very aggressive dive sort of meta, and it shows with what they're looking to ban. Hazard got a nerf recently, but was one of the highest banned heroes. Kiriko, another aggressive healer, can follow in with the TP, could cleanse. Lucio, just speed boosting away. Then we've got a Winston also banned as much as Hazard was. We saw a lot of Wrecking Ball get played. He got banned a little bit as well. So this was a very fast pace. And the thing that surprised me most, honestly, was the Ramatra. He got banned 3 separate times. And when he wasn't, it might have been a little bit of map specific stuff. But when he wasn't, he was a force to be reckoned with, especially in the right hands on certain teams. So I wouldn't doubt we're going to see more Ramatra moving forward, and more bans happening overall here. Yeah. I don't imagine you've got much to say other than get rid of Torb on these stats, Nick.
I mean, pretty easily you can see which healers need nerfs. Like, that's a pretty good statistic. Usually usually those ones aren't, like, if they're all 3 of them are this high, like Juno, Kiriko, and Ana, like, obviously movement is an issue with how aggressive this meta is, right? Like, Ana's always bullshit. Like, I always say this, like, that anti-heal grenade is nonsense to the extreme. The ultimate is crazy. Like, again, like, she stands out because it doesn't matter how cracked or how power creep this damn game gets, she's there. Like, she's there every inch of the way. But obviously we can see Juno and Kiriko probably overall need movement nerfs. They're a little bit too fluid throughout all maps. It's not map specific. It's literally just maps in general. So
I imagine too, like we were saying before, thinking ahead, especially when we're talking about Magic the Gathering, banning the direct thing versus banning the consequential things, right? Overwatch is a little bit more tighter when it comes to its roster on the changes. They're very conservative when it comes to what they put in the game and how they do that. And I think that also applies to their changes. I think Ana being viable now definitely speaks to the viability of Hazard and Winston. Like, that's such a classic OG 2016, 2017 strategy for Overwatch, where it's like Winston go in, Winston zap, Ana heal, Winston ult, right? Nano Winston win. Like, that's like classic. And so that's continued with the Hazard. That's continued with the Wrecking Ball to that sense. But then you do have the Juno speed boosting people in, Kiriko, Lucio. So it'll be interesting to see the targeted changes they're going to make and the consequential changes that are going to impact all these, because it is something that shifts the entire tapestry when you pull a thread here. Absolutely that kind of game, which is the thing we like about that stuff. I need to pull up one other thing, because what's it called? We are expecting changes to happen, and I'm going to go over this story in just a second. And I definitely X'd out of this, what's it called?
Super easy. Guess what, everybody?
Earlier.
Overwatch changes are coming. Are you going to be happy? No.
How'd you guess, Nick? How'd you guess?
I think I nailed it. Like, I think in like a week and a half, they're going to be like, all right, guys, not much changing, except we did add PvE. I know you guys have been waiting. We said we canceled it, but we brought it back because I swear to God, if Marvel Rivals does it before we do, we are in the coffin. Like, so they're probably going to be like, yeah, we got PvE coming. And then in like 7 or 8 months after the PvE actually does better than the PvP because Marvel Rivals has taken over too much, then it changes directions and turns into a PvE game.
Dude, full stop. It's going to become a Souls-like Elden Ring kind of game. Just like no longer PvP, only Elden Ring.
In an Elden Ring game. Insanity.
We got to have it, Blizzard. Let us know. But Nick, I think we need to quit the podcast game here and we need to go into the psychic business, because you are just throwing out projections left and right. You're nailing it through your crystal ball of just omnipotence and, like, you know, Overwatch is going to have a groundbreaking PvP gameplay changes coming soon, and we're going to get to know about it next week on February 12th. Like, this is an announcement they had this week, announcing an announcement. Long story short, yes, we are expecting stuff to happen, stuff to come in. I do need to also bring up the developer's take because that is going to be a big part of this. We also got a blog post from Aaron Keller, the game director, on Friday. So a little bit of a birthday present to me. Thank you, Aaron. And he kind of alludes to certain things here. If you want to take the full read, there's content creators who've already covered it because we're a little bit late, 4 days after the post. But TLDR here is he's talking about there's more changes to come, big changes. We can speculate on what that is going to be in just a moment. I would like to do that, but there's a couple pieces of information I think you'd enjoy. They're getting rid of the Jade weapons, but then announced that it's going to legacy currency. I think they corrected that via tweet. Previously, it was just going to be, hey, this is this year. Only you get competitive currency. With the comparative currency, you get to spend it on Jade weapons. We're going to have a new weapon coming out in 2025. And then, that's it for the Jade weapon. So it was supposed to be sunsetted, and now it's going to be in a legacy format of currency, etc. Next, they like the competitive drives and getting people to play at the end of season. But I wonder what it's going to be like now that Marvel Rivals is absolutely outpacing them. I want to see something big with this. They're not really addressing that. I don't know if they're going to do that directly, but Next, they're also talking about the heroes, Venture, Hazard, Juno being high mobility power creep. It's something that you say all the time, Nick, where it's like, these heroes can do everything. What is Reinhardt going to do? How and what? So I think that plays a part into this last thing and looking ahead into 2025. They're looking to make their big annual patch, their change. This time last year is when they put in the projectile change, specifically 24 February. This is where projectile changes increased, decreased, as well as hit points increased, decreased for season 9. This was like a big change, or the first big change after it was implemented. So it's cool to see that they're staying to their word, coming back a year later for another big change. You may have liked that HP difference. You may have liked the projectile change. You may have not liked it. Either way, it did get people back in the game. It got people excited for the game, and it got people looking at stuff. I say all this because I'm adding to this pot that I want you to stir, this cauldron for your witchcraft of predictions, Nick, that I'm going to ask you for in just a minute, because there's one last point to note, and I don't think it really matters as much, but it's a fun little statistic here. They've been doing the 6v6 playtest, right, Nick? Where, people were complaining, saying they wanted 6v6 back. They don't want a solo tank. They want 2-tank experience. So Overwatch is delivered in a asterisk way where they've tested out if it would work, what would it look like now, 2 years into Overwatch 2. They tried the classic 2-2-2 role queue of 6v6, and they're just in the middle of trying min 1 max 3, where there has to be at least one of every role, but you can have 3 DPS or 3 healers to kind of change up variety and expectation in comps. The big thing that they're saying here is the role queue version, the 2-2-2, accounted for nearly 10% of all play hours in the game for most of the event run, which is big because a lot of events die off within the first couple days. People don't play it. So A, people consistently played it. But then B, the next thing to see is that compared that to role queue and quick play, it was 30 to 40% is what you usually see of players playing that mode in that time frame. So it's a much smaller percent of play hours for the game, but it's not insignificant. And he goes on to say that they're interested in continuing. They think they might have a place for 6v6, but they're not ready to swap the core format of the game to focus on 6v6 again. So a little bit of a disheartening move for the 6v6ers, but kind of also reassuring that, the transparency of the statistics and why, and then 5v5 might be the way, but it still doesn't solve the feel of that part, man. Any thoughts on that with the 6v6, Nick, before I ask you your predictions and what we expect is going to be in this announcement coming up on February 12th?
I don't know why the game is 5v5. It's never made sense. So put it back. They're going to change it back. There's no shot that they're not. This beating around the bush thing is really, really stupid. If you don't Marvel Rivals takes more of your players. Like, this is a shut up and do it. You're going to do it regardless of what, like, even if the players didn't want a 6v6 now, because Marvel Rivals is 6v6 and tearing you up on a lot of numbers, including Steam, like, you're going to just do it. And it's not even a question. It's going to make a comeback. It's just when they're going to do it. I think the more interesting thing would be the, where like our predictions would go, and like the max 3 min 1 thing is like I would put it as like 100% is what they're gonna do, and they're gonna change. And like what I would do is make that do the min 1 max 3, and then take the take the people I've been talking about and switch their roles. Just in general, switch them up. Torbjorn, probably make him a tank. Roadhog, make him a DPS. I don't know. Like, make it a tank. Just switch it. Like, take some of the, like, this is the big shift that they need. Like, all this stuff. Like, Overwatch does something really, really good. Every character feels unique when you play it. There is not one chance where, like, you play a character in this game and you're like, damn, this feels like I'm playing somebody else. That is their strength. Just in general. That's not the, like, it happens in Marvel Rivals, right? But in Marvel Rivals, you do not have that same feeling, right? Like, you're not going to be like going from Orisa to playing Mercy, right? It's like you don't have that drastic thing. In Overwatch, it's really drastic. You will do that in Marvel Rivals if you wanted to. You're like, all right, I'll go from this person, I'll go play Hulk now, right? Like, it's a little bit more. You're kind of playing, like, not to say that like everybody's playing everything, but I do think that it's an easier switch. The controls are pretty much the same. It's a third person character. You get to see the character. All characters kind of move the same. Like, as far as like the speed of their character running through the map, right? Like, some characters are a little bit faster, but like if you play Orisa, you're moving slow. Like, you feel like you're trugging through the map for the most part when you play as Orisa, right? And so I think they should like lean into that, but I think it's more to do with the role swaps. Like, I think that they need to have like some nice sweeping role swaps. Like,
that's what you think a big announcement. Yeah, you think that's what you think the big change is going to be expected. Was going to be some like specific hero changes and tunes, not even just tunes, but like reworks, perhaps. Like you're kind of saying, where it's like role swapping reworks.
I think that that's where they should go, because like again, like the game is stagnant, right? Like not in like a bad. I'm not going to say it in like a bad way, but like the game's stagnant. Like Roadhog's the same, Reinhardt's the same, right? The game is the same for the most part. The only thing is like power creep kind of just takes the game to that next level, right? Like, are we playing behind shields? No, we're not doing that anymore because the power creep is there. Like, we either blow up a shield or we're in your face already. And does the shield actually matter? Because you can't shield everybody around you. You can only shield in a direction. So I think it comes down to switching the min 1, max 3. And then you get some weird funky comps where, like, you know, your DPS is could be a Roadhog and you have a tank. Just like I said before, with like the effective health on like Wolverine, where he's not really a tank, but like he can kind of substitute sometimes into the thing, right? Like,
yeah.
I don't think going back to 2-2-2 is a smart move. So.
And that's where I think I differentiate. Like, Overwatch, I think, is a much smoother game than Marvel Rivals, right? And like, there is like obviously a head-to-head aspect of it right now. What's the better game? And it doesn't need to be like that. It's not like that. They are two drastically different games. Marvel Rivals is a lot more chaotic, bit faster paced, bit all over the place. Super Smash Brothers with items. Overwatch, it's not 6v6 anymore, but even if it was, it's a lot more smooth. It's a lot more transparent, as far as, not transparent, but like consistent in far of what you do, get result kind of stuff. But it is equally as like fast paced and kind of confusing. I think it benefits Marvel Rivals better being confusing. I don't think it benefits Overwatch. And I think that was part of the push to go 5v5 overall. We don't totally know for sure, and it seems very arbitrary. But I just want to flat out say, is like, as one of my predictions, I do not think they're going to go back to 6v6. He kind of alludes to that where it's like they're not ready to swap the core of the game. So if they're going to do that, I don't think they're going to do that within the next 6 months, let alone a year. They might have a play mode, a game mode with 6v6, but I think they're going to drop the 2 from Overwatch 2 sooner than they go to 6v6, even if it's a min 1, max 3. But if I were to give a real prediction too, I think you kind of hit the nail on the head. I think this patch, this announcement for the announcement, we could speculate that they're going to be changing heroes. I think this is not going to be full reworks. I don't think it's going to be necessarily role changes, but I think they're going to be adding possibly passives, but then they're going to be evaluating where everybody is, the lineup is in the meta, where they all form and sit. Like we're saying, why would you pick Reinhardt when you could pick Malga? Why would you pick Orisa when you can pick this? And like for an Orisa to be good, she needs to be power crept, and everybody else needs to be like power nerfed slightly over a long period of time. And then suddenly she's everywhere kind of thing, right? Like the same with like a Reinhardt. How do you bring those old style of design characters up to the modern age? And I think they're going to make a swing at that. And I don't entirely know what it's going to look like, but I think they're probably going to make a big change to Torb, like you're saying. I think Reinhardt's going to be one of those, and I think it might come through passives.
I mean, passive would be cool, but that's like something that's like not really understandable for like a lot of players, right? Like passives in League of Legends are pretty hard for a lot of people to understand. They understand the moves. They understand a lot of spacing when it comes to that, right? But then with passives and stuff like that, like certain ones can just be like, what the dude? Right, like again, like every single aspect of a game gets power crept, right? Like there's good examples of passives that are cracked as hell in League of Legends. But you know, passives could be cool. I don't think that would change anything. I think it would change like what you do in the game, but not what the game is. And the game itself, like fundamentally, doesn't need to like. It needs to change more than it needs to stay the same. So, and like that's where I've been with Overwatch for a while. It needs to change more than it's staying the same, and it kind of tends to stay the same more. And that's Blizzard's thing, is they stay safe and cautious rather than like experimental. And like I'll tell you right now, waiting a year. Yeah, cool, bro. Like we got another Heroes of Storm on our hands. Rats. Like we've already nuked the pro scene for the most part. Like it's just Heroes of the Storm version 2.0 at that point, right? Like Hearthstone did
try again with thing. Emphasis. Once more.
So yeah, like you know, they did this with the TCG. They did it with their MOBA. They did it with their MMO. Like it's now they're finally on their MMO. They're changing a little bit, being that instead of their experimental layers, instead of doing one thing, they're doing 3 things, but it's still only one thing. But anyway, again, it just needs to change more than it needs to stay the same. And just changing Reinhardt to be played in the meta doesn't really change anything besides like, what are you going to do? Let him throw his shield like he's Captain America onto a point and then jump to it or something?
Maybe.
There you go. Or throw it ahead, charge to it. But then again, like, would still suck. Like, because again, the failure of the shield and why the shields kind of suck is because they're not Winston.
I think
where it's just, hey, we got this everywhere.
I think we're having a little bit of an internet connection issue there, Nick. Are you still with me?
Yeah, I'm still with you, but I'm seeing myself paused on screen.
Yeah, you were doing the boogeyman pose. Yeah, no, I agree. Where it's like Winston's bubble it provides a little bit more utility, versatility, rather than, you know, and maybe that's the point. And maybe that didn't matter back when there was only 5 tanks. Like it matters a lot more now. I think the big
is a shield, right? Yeah. All the other ones, they just build cover. That's all they ever did was make cover. They didn't make a shield, right? Winston does, I have a shield. Now we're all doing this shit, right? But before, Reinhardt's like, I put the cover up, stand behind me. All right, awesome. Like that's it. Like
interested
Orisa.
in like. I'm a little bit interested in the square as a rectangle is a square moment because I kind of understand what you mean, but then at the same time, like you're saying Winston's bubble is a shield and not cover, but I think it ends up being both.
Yeah, because you're shielded by it, but if you're not inside of it, you can use it as cover, right? But you can't really do the same with Reinhardt's shield.
I get you.
Shield, right? It's just building a cover that you can lean against, get behind real quick, rather than like, this is a shield. They have to make their way into this shield area. And in order to do something.
But that's also kind of like based on Winston's mechanics. He jumps in, right? Whereas
everybody jumps in, bro. That's what this game's become.
Not Orisa, not Sigma, not Reinhardt, right? Like Reinhardt can do the charge, but like Reinhardt is either cover for other people or a big swinging hammer man, right? Like,
I mean, like
Orisa just put it
for that exact reason.
Orisa would put her shield down so she'd have deployable cover and would kind of, but like you would still need to do like a rush comp for it to be aggressive. Otherwise, it was mostly a bunker comp defensive kind of strategy where you sit in a place and they have to come to you. Whereas like,
that was the original like Overwatch problem, right? Was like everybody's just shooting at shields, and then they wanted to like get around that tanks, and stuff. Yeah. But that just becomes like how you want to use the shields in the game, right? And like what they're capable of, right? So like Reinhardt's shield isn't capable of being like versatilely used for the most part. Orisa's is a little bit because it's just you can shoot it across the map for somebody else. I mean, the way that it used to be, right? Like when you were just like, boom, and you would shoot a thing across the map, it would block somebody. You can have some like skill expression, more skill expression. Reinhardt is stuck in you dunce, you do what I say, and if you don't, you're just dead anyway, right? He walks with his shield up or he walks with his shield down. That's it, right? It's what he does. So
I think that's a good point, but because especially when we're looking at Marvel Rivals, which definitely doesn't give a fuck. Like they're just making hero fantasy characters and they try to fit something cool into their kit that fits what they are in the comics, right? And like Marvel Rivals is showing that like, you know, people don't mind 6v6, the chaos, they're still learning. They also kind of just don't care. Maybe that's the thing. Like they're just in the game and they're like, I'm Spider-Man, flip, kind of thing. Anyway, my point being is that like a lot of these characters have more buttons than I can press. It's more complicated. It's more, whereas I think maybe Overwatch and like the design team for like a Reinhardt, they're like, yeah, this is our group tank, right? This is the tank for when you want to play close together. And this is the tank for when you want to jump in. So like they're kind of deciding what it's gonna and how it's going to be used a little bit. And like, I think there's a certain air that like, yes, you need that because you need to have a clear design philosophy and a vision. But then you also have, like, we've talked about this with WoW. You need to have the capacity for players to innovate and like iterate, but that's also where the biggest friction points come in because players innovate in unexpected ways. And usually they exploit broken shit. They make things more broken and more ridiculous and crazy. And like, I know that's something that like then turns around and it's like people go, oh, Blizzard, small indie developer can't make a game right. And it's like, well, no, it's the players doing the player thing. So like, I want to give a little bit of credit there, but like, yeah, like maybe that contrast for Marvel Rivals is important. Because Nick, if you can let me continue for just a second, unless you're very burning, urging to get another thought out, I have another kind of interesting point. All right, let's go. This announcement is coming.
No, I got something to say.
All right,
go ahead.
I'm just going to pout now because you were mean.
Sure.
Marvel, like they have the announcement for the announcement next week, right? And like this is kind of like expected thing. And this is like the problem with Blizzard Activision with how slow they were. It was definitely the problem with WoW, how slow in response they were to things. Granted, they just got back from holiday vacation. Granted, that, this was probably the next thing on their timeline, right? But Marvel Rivals came out since the last sort of a content patch for Overwatch. It's put out a half a season as expected in their timeline. They put out a new season as expected in their timeline.
And like, it's created such a whirlwind in that time that Blizzard had like both happened to be on vacation for holidays, and like the roadmaps were just set it and forget it, let it run, let it fly. So like the big question here too is Blizzard Overwatch specifically needs to pivot whatever sort of roadmap they had. Can they do that quick enough to then make a show that they're going to compete with Marvel, and not even like I'm a direct competitor sort of compete, but like show like, hey, you should still play this game because we're very interested in it and we want a lot of energy from you kind of way. Because right now Marvel's stealing all the energy, absolutely stealing all the energy from that. So like that might be a big thing we need to see. And like that comparison, they could steal, the competition's good. They can take ideas, they can iterate on good points and like just apply it here. But are they going to be able to pivot quick enough? Because I'm sure they've already planned this announcement for the last 3 to 6 months. And like, it may be going to feel a lot more lackluster because Marvel Rivals has felt so fresh and new in the honeymoon phase of that chaotic, I want to call it a looter shooter, but no, it's the Super Smash Brothers items on mode.
Like, so Marvel Rivals will win the engagement aspect until they have a certain amount of champions in their game. Like there's no shot, like they're probably like there's no Deadpool, like there's like until like certain characters make it into the game, you'll always have that next character to go with, right? Like if Doom doesn't make it into the game, if Thanos doesn't make it into the game, if Deadpool doesn't make it into the game, it's not like, you know, if Jubilee doesn't make it into the game, who cares, right? No one cares. Right. But if Juggernaut like doesn't make it into the game, people are going to care. Juggernaut gets released. People are going to be like, holy crap. All right, then let's go. Like they're going to come back to at least play like Juggernaut. So like, I don't think they'll ever beat Marvel Rivals on that attention grab.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that engagement. Like it's just not possible. There's too much for them to kind of juice it up with, you know, just like they already have like Squirrel Girl, right? But like they can just have so many other characters that like you just don't even like realize.
So it's a good point, but like you know, so then how does Overwatch define itself as being the Pepsi versus, you know, Marvel Rivals Coke, right? Coca-Cola. I saw an interesting fun tidbit was that Team Fortress 2 was out for 9 years and then Overwatch came out, and then Team Fortress 2 kind of dissolved in a year. Like it's been in like a no patch state of play a year after Overwatch came out. And now Overwatch has been out for 9 years. And here we have the next arena hero shooter challenging it. Are we looking at history repeating itself kind of mode? So like, how does Overwatch, what do you think Overwatch does to then establish itself as a viable alternative? Not that it's the same, that it needs to be the same, etc., but then that viable alternative.
Perfect the hero shooter. Like it's hard. It's a hard ask, man. But it's what I was talking about. Like tank healer DPS doesn't work. It just doesn't work. There should probably be like 5 roles. Right. And one of them should probably be like off tank. And like there should just be a little bit more with that. And I don't think that they'll ever go in the way that it is. You're not going to beat Marvel Rivals. They already like it didn't matter that you were first. You're doing it worse. That's just like kind of the way that it is right now. Right. Like you did it first. Congratulations. Thanks for bringing us here. Haha. Go home. Like that's where it is right now. So like if you're going to stay on this like rate of play that you're playing at, that you want to do, you want to talk to your investors, right? Whatever you want to follow that route, go for it. But like you need to either change to be different from Marvel Rivals enough to where people really can't compare you too much anymore, where you go like, no, that game's just chaos nonsense, bro. It's a hell shooter. It's like it's a bullet hell game. Like that's not what we are, right? And they actually perfect the thing and say, hey, Marvel Rivals, guess what? You're doing it wrong. This is the way it's supposed to be. And like you guys can exist and that's cool. You get all the money you want, but like we did it right. We know how to do it. Like that's it.
Or Nick.
Or what?
Elden Ring with Lucio. Come on. First person they bring back PvE and they make Elden Ring with Lucio. Simple as that. Workshop mode. You can do it. I know you can.
Sure. Or, you know. or combine every single one of their IPs into one game and then be done with it and not be Heroes of the Storm.
Oh, okay.
Right?
Yeah. I was about, yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Like maybe they bring in like now, like here's where they're going to compete, right? Is they're going to do the Heroes of the Storm thing. They're going to be like, check it out. We got Thrall in Overwatch. He shoots lightning and heals people. Like that's what they're going to try to do.
That's a cool idea though. If they had like some sort of mode. This game.
I already told you, like I've been saying it for 15 years. Bans needed to happen in this game.
It's imagine
not 15 years.
Yeah. It felt like 15 years, but I also imagine that like Blizzard, especially like the WoW team, it's like we need to have an in-game lore reason to why this is happening. So like I imagine that same regard, they can maybe struggle with like, we're not going to do something like ridiculous and fun like that. And even if it's a separate game mode in the arcade, etc., unless it's like we need a continuity, across all these playing issues for Thrall to jump in here kind of moment. But
I'll just put this out there. I always thought that World of Warcraft was 1, Overwatch was 2, and StarCraft was 3, as far as their timeline was concerned.
Oh, okay. I was about to say that caveat of timeline is like, is this a power ranking of games? Like people could be mad at you.
Just like is that like, I'd probably put StarCraft above all of them, right? Like that's probably where I would go. But that's I've always thought that they were all in the same like timeline and stuff like that. And like, who knows, maybe they release PvE part of the game. And I'm telling you right now, I do not kid when I say that if they do not if Marvel Rivals puts out a PvE game, you're actually done. You're actually done. But like, yeah. But like, so maybe they put out a PvE mode or something.
Nick, I want to go into a little bit of lore mode real quick.
Sure.
If all three of those games are in the same singular timeline over past, present, future kind of things, right?
Sure.
There's a map in Overwatch called Blizzard World. Blizzard World has knowledge of the future with StarCraft. Blizzard World is like the nexus of the timeline or the time stream here, man. Like, what are we talking here?
Probably got hit with a situation. So like old lore for League of Legends was like, there were summoners who would take these people and throw them onto a battlefield. Right. So like, there you go. Like,
all right.
It could be anything, but like, that's the way I've always treated their, like if they really was the continuity, I would just say that Blizzard World was just one of those joke things inside of it. Like, Joel Schumacher's Batman movies are Batman movies inside the Batman universe. And then the movie just makes perfect fucking sense. Like why does he have a back credit card? And why does Bruce Wayne is the only person who has a back credit card? Because it's a fucking movie inside of a Batman universe. And you're like, that makes fucking sense, man. Like that's it. So that's what Blizzard World is to me. It's just like,
do you think
that's what it would be?
Do you think that Bruce Wayne went around charging that credit card and like nobody batted an eye?
Front of, like everybody. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. But like, do you think he used that in his day-to-day life? Like bought Starbucks? And he's like, I'm not Batman, but my card is.
Dude, like it's like a commercial when he pulls it out, man. If you don't remember it.
I do remember that.
Like a cheesy like MasterCard line or something.
I take it everywhere.
Yeah. So like that, like anyway, off the Batman movie, that's a funny little thing. I do actually believe that that's a Batman movie inside of a Batman universe. But again, they need to come out. They need to at least have a timeline for PvE before Marvel Rivals does it. It really needs to happen. Even if it's trash, they could even come out and say like, listen, it's booty, but we're gonna fix it. Like, but we gotta release it now before somebody else does it.
They already kind of did it. It was booty, and they're like they try to charge people for it, and it was I don't know if they're going to continue with the PvE route. I would like to see them make that change to PvP, sink into it, make it more of the solid competitive PvP arena shooter, but then also tighten up those heroes like the Reinhardts that are left behind, etc. Or just go full balls to the wall, release 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 characters next year rather than just 3 champion. They got to keep pace. If Marvel Rivals is going to release 2 heroes every 6 weeks, they're going to triple or quadruple that. And like, that's going to be a big reason why people are going to, at least with the attention economy, like, oh, there's something new. Let me try that out for a week.
I'm going to be over there more than I'm over here if I have that same mentality with Overwatch. And maybe you don't want that kind of gamer, that kind of player, but then you got to start treating the retention better for the people who are here. You got to make them feel better so they stay, as well as like acquisition in some sense.
Company. They're terrible at that.
Maybe that joke.
It's like the worst thing that Blizzard is actually. There's like the worst thing that they actually do all the time is their retention. It's like they give two shit. They're always trying to scam onto new players, but their retention, they're like, yeah, whatever, guys. And like 15 years later, we got player housing coming out, but we also have like this store that we sell cosmetics constantly in. Do you think that we're not going to sell you certain siding or a Nixia's head in your house? Like, they're terrible for retention.
Do you want a Murloc pillow for your bed? Like, do you want a digital Murloc pillow for your in-game bed? I know you do.
Trading company, half owned by Tencent. Like, you can see what League of Legends is doing to just smash their player base into the ground. You can it's the same company. Like, so again, like, you're not going to beat them on champion releases. You're just not going to, right? And like that comes like maybe you have too many DPS in Overwatch, like I've said before, and just maybe Mei and Torbjorn need to become tanks or something. Maybe Torbjorn becomes a fucking support, dude, and he has a medic tank turret that like he puts down and like on the spot, and they gotta, but yeah.
We can ideate all kinds of different things, of course. We'll see what happens next week. We've got one more episode and then it'll be happening after that. But we've got a week to speculate, see what other players are saying, see what gets leaked or not. I do imagine they're going to have some big changes. I imagine it's going to be a little bit less than what we would want. But I really hope that it's good faith for the life and longevity of Overwatch. And maybe, like I joked before, they just drop the 2. And like, they could do it quietly. They don't have to admit they were wrong or it's anything different. But just by dropping the 2 might kind of show that little head nod to players like, okay, let's go. Nick is shaking his head. No, left and right. No,
because I'm not even joking, man. If I was an Overwatch player and you got me on this Overwatch 2 nonsense for 2 years, and then you just dropped the 2, I'd quit your game. I quit it so hard, no matter how deep I was invested in this game. Like,
well, in fairness, they did it to the people with 1, and like, yeah. So like, maybe they could survive it again. Maybe they just go to 3 instead, right? Let's go up. Bigger numbers are better.
Just give it a 2.5. Throw it like Overwatch 2.5, and I'm cool with it. Like, but like, again, change it. Like, has to change more than it stays the same. And if they just literally put out like, yeah, guys, eventually we're going to do 6v6. And we know we got to make some changes. And we hear you loud and clear, guys. We are talking about it in every board meeting. We hear you guys. The feedback, we hear it. We've heard you guys loud and clear. They'll say it 18 different ways.
We heard you.
Like,
we
heard you, right? Like, this feels like a Magic the Gathering ban. Like, you're going to be so fucking let down, right? Nothing actually changes. They're going to make some frivolous change where it's like, I don't know. Now you don't even need a computer to play it. You can play on your phone. Like, it's just, now it's just mobile watch. Like,
yeah, I think maybe that's where we start. I think that's a good point, and maybe that's where we start. Let's set our expectations low. And like, they need to just show that they've got some life in them and that there's some good faith. We're listening / we're making moves kind of changes. So let's start there. And like, maybe let's start there with that announcement that is coming. We are expecting it. Let's temper our expectations of what that announcement could be and just hope for the best, of course. But as far as starting there with that, we are ending here for the podcast. Nick, thank you for joining me. You have any last thoughts here before we summon the wrath of Tyler 1 for the final time this episode?
No, I'm trying to get the wrath of Blizzard on my cheeks right now, bro. Marvel Rivals has 91.9K viewers right now. Overwatch has 9.8K, bro. Abysmal.
Yeah. Twitch is like such a weird metric for game developers though. So they might not care about that, but it is an indication of hype at least. And that is something that is important for like pushing trends or going viral kind of stuff. Yeah. But, you know, thanks for joining me. If you're still watching, thanks for watching along, being a part of the conversation. Hit us up on our social media at the Esports Meta with any of your opinions. What do you expect from Overwatch? What do you want from Overwatch? Are you still playing Marvel Rivals? Did you even play it at all? Do you even care? Hello, are you even listening? League of Legends, are you watching LTA North? What's your team? What's not your team? Let us know all those questions or all your other thoughts, or another game that we should be talking about, like Baldero, right, Nick? Baldero? Balatro. I'm 0 for 4 on saying that name correctly. But anyway, thanks for joining us. Thanks for joining me, Nick. It's a pleasure talking with you and chatting. We'll do it again next week if you're interested. 9 p.m. Monday, sound good? Perfect. Wonderful. Well, thanks again. Thanks for joining the Esports Meta, and we'll see you next time.